notes, the better you're going to be able to work on Case 3 and in the activities that we're going to do in preparation for Case 3.
So there's a chart that we can download.
Uh-huh. It says create a word process chart, but I've created one for you in Educator. So I should note that, actually. I'll update this for next time.
Is it, I think I printed it already. Is it,
Yep.
is it 2 pages?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Although there's a yeah. And then there's space on the chart for Chapter 7 as well, because what Chapter 7 is, it takes 3 subject areas and says this is how this framework works in those subject areas. So there's space on the chart for that. And then we're going to keep moving forward in Zhao, Chapters 3 and 4. And here we're going to be processing Zhao. I think you'll like what we're doing today, now that our technology's up. So rather than tell you how to process, I'm going to have to go get some water. I'm chalk dust. We're going to have you participate in creating how we look at these chapters. Do you want to talk about Reardon, or maybe not?
I was not prepared to talk about Reardon.
Then I'll do that. Then I'll go through it. You also have a little book called Beyond the Debate, The Nature of Teaching. We include this in the course for a couple of reasons. One of them is that you ought to know what our philosophy is, and that's what this book is about. Tim is currently Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs and a Professor of Philosophy. And he wrote this, probably, is there a date on the inside of it? Probably 10, 15 years ago. 93. Okay, that's close. Not quite.
17.
He wrote a draft, gave it to all the faculty, got their feedback, wrote a second draft, gave it to all the faculty, got their feedback. So it represents kind of our corporate vision, but facilitated. You can't write in groups of 100 people too well. So he captured for all of us. Now, he's got key elements he's got 6 domains, and we want you to identify what you think are the key elements, the importance for your work site and the importance for your learning. Although what we'd ask you to do, and the directions are on here on the blue form, for each one identify the key elements, because we want you to understand the domains. But don't put the answers to the second and third column for every one, because that'll get tedious. So just choose 2 of the domains and tell why this is important for your learners when you think about yourself as a teacher, which 2 are the most important from your perspective as a teacher. And then put yourself in your learner position, which are the most important ones from your perspective as a learner. And say about as much as you can fit in that space.
Can you explain that again? Because you lost me.
Okay, it's at the top of the page. Identify key elements of the domain for each domain. Then, for at least 2 of the domains, respond with a brief explanation of why this is important for you, for the learners you work with. So it would be importance for your work site, the middle column. You're only going to fill in 2 of the boxes in the middle column.
And the middle column for work site is the learners you work with, your
Correct.
students.
Yeah. And then for 2, you're only going to fill in 2 boxes under importance for your own learning. Now what I often get...
Those could be different.
They could be different.
Different aspects.
Where it says student learning styles and needs, we already heard this today when you were complaining about professional development. If you go over students' learning styles and needs, go over to importance for your own learning, a lot of people write in that one, as a teacher I'm often offended by the professional development I get because it doesn't attend to my learning style. I wish they would, blah, 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 blah.
Well, and that's supported by research on professional development as well.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not a mystery in the field of research about teacher learning that many teachers perceive professional development as most relevant when it is longitudinal, connected to their particular context, and drawing from their particular concerns. So going to a workshop after school on Tuesday, March whatever, that you had to go to is kind of the worst way to go about it, but yet the most common.
And Lynn, this would be an apropos time for you to just share. I
I've actually been given the opportunity or asked to develop, facilitate, and implement a professional development for the 8th grade special ed transition people in Milwaukee Public Schools.
Wow.
How many of those are there?
All in all, there's about 45.
Okay.
And what you have to go through to set up a professional development is unbelievable. You have to go on this Brown Bear District calendar. You have to post it and enroll. You have to send out a flyer. You have to fill out what core competencies you're going to deal with, what standards you're working with. I have a binder like this. And last week, Tuesday, was the very first one. And then you have an evaluation, and you have to write a letter to the union. You have to write a letter to the superintendent to get this all going. And we only allow 30 spots. And then I think we had like 23 people and that signed up, and then they come. They actually get paid for it. But so they know exactly. It's not like, oh, go to this. You choose to come. And it was the most wonderful experience I've ever had. I mean, it was so much fun. And then I did a PowerPoint, that was part of it. And you have to develop your evaluation, what you want that to look like, plus whatever you're presenting. And I got all 4s. That was the highest. And then afterwards, like 4 people came up to me and like shook my hand and said, I wish you taught in our school. And I said, well, I am kind of going to be a piece of your school now, because I do it every month. And then over the summer, I'm going to develop it for next year. My supervisor asked. And then I had one young teacher come up. She didn't shake my hand, but she just kind of looked at me and she said, I wish you were my teacher. And I said, are you special ed? Were you special ed? And she said, no. But I wish you would have been my teacher. And I thought, oh, how nice is that? I mean, I wanted to hug the girl, but yeah, it's exciting. It really, really is.
Very nice.
And you told me you used things from this class.
Oh,
already.
yes.
So tell us what you used.
Well, I took and I know in prior knowledge that everybody learns differently. But so many, and like just the 3 things that you had mentioned, so many staff developments. It's listen to this. Here's your PowerPoint as we just talk through it. Write your notes. So I developed a professional development that was hands-on transition. I actually gave them lessons. I demonstrated how the lesson would go for their students, because it's not like there's a textbook on transition. I did a whole lesson on understanding your disabilities. So then I gave people disabilities and what does that look like, and how I did it in my class, really, so you were like a student. And went through all of that, and and they learn differently too. And all of my lessons for probably 20 years have been see it, hear it, read it, work with it, write it, all. So then I do that with them. And then we did like walking around, because we know we never like sitting. So when I go to professional development, I think, I would never do this, and now I'm not doing it. So it's a wonderful thing.
Nice.
Great. Well, we want to do 2 things in the time